Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on July 31st, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 1, 19, 31, 48, and 61. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 1 was green, the 19 was red, the 31 was purple, the 48 was blue, and the 61 was orange. Okay, so I'm going to color those in. So again, the 1 was green, the 19 was red, the 31 was purple, the 48 was blue, and the 61 was orange. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. So I have 1 green, red, 1 purple, 1 blue, 1 orange for 5 colors total. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up here and put 353 color code drawings I kept track of so far. Okay, and now a 5 color combination has now come up 13 times. Okay, so what I want you to look at here and focus on is this 3 color combination. Okay, you can see that it's come up 189 drawings out of 353 drawings. Okay, so if you do the math real quick, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left is purple. Okay, so what I did is I took all 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 different colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers here. The red numbers are the last 3 drawings, okay? And the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers, okay? So again, I'm going to start in with the 1, the 19, the 31, the 48, and the 61. And then the next line down is the 22, the 29, 35, 53, 56. And the last line is 5, 26, 36, 64, and 69. So again, I'm going to make these red numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 4 and 2 are 6, 4 is 10, and 5 is 15. So I'm going to leave this right here alone at 15. Okay. So up here it tells me how many colors I have on the game card. Okay. So moving on to the orange area. Okay, I'm going to start in with the 19, and you can see that's already taken. So I'm going to go to the 43, the 47, the 60, the 68, the 13, the 23, 32, 35 was already taken. The 68 is taken. Okay, the next line down is the 7, 9, 26 is already taken, the 44. 68, again, that's taken. And the last line is 4, 8, 23 is already taken, 46, and 65. So again, I'm going to make these orange numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 4 and 4 is 8, and 4 is 12, and 2 more is 14. So I'm going to leave that alone right there at 14. Okay, so I think you understand on how I'm doing things here. So I'm just going to speed things up and scroll to the right here. Okay. So you can see this is the game card that's all set for July 31st, 2019. Again, there was 15 red numbers. Turned out to be 14 orange, 18 green, 14 blue, and 8 purple numbers. Okay. So again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay. So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up. And that's what I want to focus on here. Okay. So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers. Okay. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay. So again, all 5 colors do come up. In fact, it came up this last drawing. So that makes 13 drawings out of 353 drawings. Okay. So all 5 colors do come up, but it's very rare. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, since it just came up, I'm going to guess that at least 1 or 2 colors won't be coming up this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to make my prediction on what color won't be coming up. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say no purple numbers. Okay, now the reason why I'm taking this, okay, and the thing about my game is that we're all going to look at this differently, so we're all going to come up with a different result. Okay. But for me, I'm going to look at this and say no purple numbers. Okay, so you can see that a purple number has come up in the last 1, 2, 3, 4 drawings. Okay, and there's only 8 purple numbers on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't believe any purple numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate these purple numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to block those out. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking $3 and I'm buying a Powerball ticket with the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these purple numbers come up, then I'm 1 step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so basically what I did here is I took all 69 numbers and divided it into 7 different groups. Okay, so here's group number 1 that holds the numbers of 1 through 9. This is the only one with 9 numbers, where of course the other groups have 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. Okay, so you can see that the 1 came up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that in that row and I'm going to make this a green square. Okay, so I'm making it green because the 1 is green. Okay, and the 1 is green because the color code said it was green. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is write how many groups it hit. Okay, so again, there's 7 groups. And out of this, group 1 hit, okay, that's in a separate group, its own group. 19 is in the teen, 31's in the 30, 48's in the 40 group, and the 61 is in the 60 group. So it hit 5 groups out of 7, okay? So what I try to do is try to correctly guess how many groups are going to be hit in this upcoming drawing, okay? So moving on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. And I'll show you how this works. Okay, so what you're looking at, this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings, okay? Now, the reason why I broke it down into 5 is for a couple reasons, okay? The first reason is when I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa, okay? So again, there's 7 groups here, okay? And there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction that no 60 numbers are going to come up, okay? You can see that the 60 number has already had 3 hits to it, okay? And 3 comes up, I would say, on average the most, okay? So as I head down through, you can see that a 3 combination here hasn't hit the 60 numbers in a long time, okay? So again, I'm going to go ahead and predict that no 60 numbers are going to come up, so I'm going to eliminate these 60 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm just going to blow this back up. Go to the game card, where I'm going to take these 60 numbers off. So here's the 66, the 67, the 65, the 68, the 60s, the 69, and the rest of the 60 numbers I'm going to take off, okay? So hopefully none of these numbers come up, okay? So if none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be still left with these highlighted numbers, okay? So I'm moving on to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and update this here, okay? So I'm going to make this 398 drawings, okay? And that basically goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball Lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So as I go back to the game card here, the winning numbers were odd, 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 even, odd. Okay, so as I go back here to the 50-50 picks, there's 4 odd numbers and 1 even number. Okay, so the majority was odd, so I'm going to make this 206. Okay. So here I like to break things down into 5 again, just to show me that majority. Okay. So in this last 5, you can see the majority was odd numbers, 3 drawings to 2. Okay. So I like to go back into the history for a little bit and see what has happened, okay? Now you can see this big streak of odds, and then it went evens, odds, evens, odds, evens, odds. Okay, so I have a feeling that this is going to be, it's going to stay on the odds here, okay? Now the reason why you can see that there was 2 odds here, 2 odds here, 2 odds, okay? It's just really sparse on this side of the on the left side here, okay? So I'm going to predict that this is going to go on a little streak here, and I'm going to say that there's going to be more odd numbers than evens, okay? So I'm going to write that down just to remind myself what I picked, okay? So again, I think there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? So the next one I have is high and low. And here what I'm going to go with is I think there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers, okay? So you can see that there was a bunch of low through here, and now I think this is going to jump back over to the high, okay? So again, I think more numbers will be here in this red area than the blue, okay? So I'm going to write that down. Again, just to remind myself what I picked. Okay, so moving on. I got left and right. Okay, and here it's been to the right side for a long time, okay, but I'm just not positive here, so I'm going to leave this one alone, okay? I don't have to pick at every one of them here, okay? So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is this red and blue, okay? And I have a feeling that since it's so sparse over here to the red area, I'm going to say that there's going to be more numbers in this red area than there will in this blue. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so one last thing I do have here in the 50-50 picks is the Powerball number itself. I do have something for it. Okay, so there's 26 red numbers in the Powerball Lottery. So what I did is I divided those numbers in two, okay? So in this column here, if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. Over in this column, if you see a red number, that means it's odds. If you see a blue, that's evens, okay? So basically why I did that is now I just look at the colors, okay? So when I see something like this, where it's been a long run of blue here, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So I'm going to take a guess that this is going to be blue again, okay? So I think the Powerball number is going to be a low number, okay? And over here, I have a feeling it's going to go back to red, so I'm thinking it's going to be a low odd number. Okay, so instead of looking at all 26 numbers, now I'm just going to look at the low odd numbers, the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, the 11, and the 13. Just those numbers alone is what I'm going to concentrate on. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers, okay? Basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups, okay? So when the winning Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that, all right? So I'm going to go back to the game card. And the winning numbers were the 1, 19, 31, 48, and 61, okay? So here's the 1, it's in the red area. The 19 shares the square with the 67. I'll go over that in a second, but that's in the red area as well, okay? The 31 is in the blue. The 39, the 48 is in the green, and the 61 is in the green. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. So there's 2 in the red area. There's 1 in that blue, the 31, okay? There's no winning Powerball numbers in the orange area, and there was 2 in the green, okay? So when there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if there's miss, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, and up here it tells me how many blue marks there are. Now there's 112 blue marks within this column right here, okay? So here's the thing. Again, the object of the game is try to correctly eliminate groups of numbers, okay? So you can see that there was no winning Powerball numbers here in the orange area, okay? So if I could have correctly guessed that there was going to be no winning Powerball numbers in this area, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball Lottery, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a prediction on what numbers won't be coming up. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, and green. Okay, it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my first prediction, and it's option card number 2, no red numbers. Okay. So again, we're all going to look at this differently, but the reason why I'm taking this is because I think that there's going to be a 1 right here, okay? Just like over here, that means there will be 2 zeros around it, okay? So a 1 comes up a lot, okay? So you're going to see that come up a lot here, okay? So with this red, there hasn't been a 1 in a very long time here. Okay, way down here, okay? So as you look at the other 3 columns, you're going to see that there's going to be plenty of 1s, you know, in these other 3, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and predict that this is going to be a 1, so I believe the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to eliminate these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I talked about sharing the square, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the 25 as well. So you can see over here on the game card, you got these 5 numbers over here to the left, okay? And as I go back to group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here to the left, okay? So basically what I wanted is I wanted this grid of 4 squares across, 8 squares across and 8 squares down, okay? But that's only good for 64 numbers, and there's 69 in the Powerball Lottery, okay? So what I had to do is pair up a couple of squares, okay? So the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 58 with the 68, and the 53 with the 69, okay? So if I'm going to get rid of all these red numbers here, I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 58 along with all these other numbers as a group. Okay, so that's all I'm doing here. Okay, so moving on to the next one. My next prediction is going to be option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, now the reason why I'm picking this one is because this has gone 20 drawings in a row, 24 drawings. So when it gets up to that 20 mark, I really start looking at it close because, as you can see, 20 doesn't come up very often. Okay, so when it does, I start looking at it to miss. Okay, so again, I think the 0 is going to be right here. So we'll see what happens, and I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers. Okay, so here's the 4 corners here, the middle, the 34, 35, 45, 69. So that 8 shares the square with the 66, so I'll get rid of that. The 19 with the 67, so I'll get rid of that. The 53 with the 69 here, so I'll get rid of that. So hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? So moving on, one last pick that I'm going to make here in this group 1 is option card number 10. Now the reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see it says no 3, okay? And what that means is that in this blue column here, there's never been 3 zeros in a row, like right here, okay? Now, as you look at the other columns, you can see that there's going to be plenty of them. Like here's the orange. Here's the green. Okay, here's another one in the red. Okay, here's another one in the green. Okay, so again, there's never been 3 in this blue area here, okay? So I'm hoping that that's going to happen now. I'm hoping that there's going to be a 0 and then a 0 and then another 0, okay? So I'm going to get rid of all these blue numbers off of my game card. It's the same pattern right here for all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 4 and the 28, the 14, 22, the 36, the 40, 46, and 54. Hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? So that's it for my group 1. So I'm going to go on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups, okay? So it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers, all right? Except with this one, I know there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and there's 8 different color groups here. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is simple. Try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I'm going to update this here too, okay? So the winning numbers were 1, which was red, 19, which is orange, 31, which is gray, 48, which is yellow, and 61, which is purple, okay? So I got 8 colors here, okay? I have 15 of these option cards. So here's option card number 1. And again, they have all the same colors as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. So again, I had one in the red, one in the orange, one in the purple, one in the gray, the 31, and one in the yellow, the 48. So red, orange, purple, gray, yellow. So here's the red area. I had a hit. Got one. There are no winning Powerball numbers in the blue area. There's one in that orange, the 19. No winning Powerball numbers in the green area. One in that purple, that's 61. No winning Powerball numbers in the brown area. One in that gray, that 31. And one in the yellow, that 48. Okay, so now I count how many color groups I hit. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to leave this green because the majority of the numbers are over here to the right side. Okay, so if it was over to the left side, I would color it red, like this 5 right here. Okay, so the reason why I do that is if I see a streak of red here, well, I think it's going to turn green eventually, you know. And if that happens, I know the majority will be over here to the right side, and I'll be looking for the zeros or the misses over here to the left side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what's going to miss. Okay, so basically why you see red and blue here is, again, I like to break things down into 5. Okay, so here you can see out of this 5 drawings, there was 3 zeros, 3 misses, and 2 hits. So when that happens, I color the background blue for cold because there was more misses than hits. Okay. The one below, you can see there was 3 hits. So I color the background red for hot. Okay. So we all know the lottery is random, and this is what random looks like. Okay. So when I see something like this where it's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark these red because the majority is already has 3 to it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction on where I think the 0 is going to be, and I think it's going to be here in this yellow. Okay. So you can see how hot this has been. Okay, so now I think it's going to go on a cool streak after this, so I hope the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these yellow numbers off of the game card, the 66 down to the 64. So I'll get rid of the 16 and the 24. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so now that you know what you're looking for, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so here in option card 2, I'm going to go with no red. So here's the red. You can see that things were pretty hot down through here. So I think the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to say I don't believe any red numbers are going to come up. And that's the 1 to the 66. So I'll get rid of the 3, 6, and 7. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so moving on to number 3. I'm going to go with no brown. So here's the brown. You can see how hot things have been here. Okay, so now I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. And that's the 5 and the 34. So I'll get rid of the 13, 21. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay. Moving on to number 4. I'm going to go with red again. So here's the red. And as I work my way down, you can see that things have been pretty hot through here. So I think the 0 will be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these red numbers, the 5 and the 33. And you can see that there's nothing here. Okay. So here's the thing with this. Okay, now on average for all 15 option cards, uh, all the numbers come out to like 3.9 to 4.2, 3.8 to 4.2, somewhere around there. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that on average, it's 4. Okay. And that means 4 of these colored groups are going to have a miss to it, and 4 of these colored groups are going to have a hit to it. Okay. Again, on average. All right. So I made a pick here. I said no red. There was nothing to eliminate. So I'm not going to come back to this option card 4 and make another selection, okay? Because my odds go way, way up, then I'm going to get it wrong, okay? So I designed this to go on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again, okay? So here, with option card number 5, I'm going to go with no brown, okay? You can see it's been really hot. Now I think the 0 will be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, okay? I'll go to the game card, and I'll take off the 15 and the 23. Okay, so moving on to option card number 6. Okay, my selection is red, so here's the red. You can see how hot things have been. Okay, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these red numbers, okay? The 3, 12, 67, 28, all the way down. So I'll get rid of that 44, okay? So it's one more number off. Okay, so moving on to 7. I'm going to go with brown. So here's the brown. Okay, you can see how hot things have been here. I think the 0 will be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. And there's nothing to get rid of, okay? So moving on to 8. I'm going to go with red. So here's the red. You see how hot things have been? So I think the 0 is going to be right here. And that's the 5, 16, 21, 31 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 31 and the 37. Okay, so moving on to 9. I'm going to get rid of the yellow. Okay, so here's the yellow, and as I work my way down, you see how hot things have been? So I think the 0 is going to be right here. And that's the 12 pattern of the 12, 17, and 66, 29. And there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so moving on to 10. I'm going to go with gray. So here's the gray. You can see how hot things have been. So I think the 0 will be right here. And that's this pattern of the 17, 28 in all 4 squares. And there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so moving on to 11. I'm going to go with brown. So here's the brown. Again, it's been pretty hot from here to here. I think the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of the 2, 23, 37, 52. So I'll get rid of that 52. And that will bring me down to the 5 numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is write those down. I'm going to go with the 20, the 38, the 39, 43, and 47. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight these. So again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 20, 38, 39, 43, and 47. Okay, so let me just copy this. Okay, so what Sherlock Holmes would say it's a matter of deduction, okay? If these blocked out numbers don't come up, then the highlighted numbers have to, okay? So that's how I look at this game, okay? The reason why I believe in it so much is that I reduced the numbers down to 10 numbers one time, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within those 10 numbers that I had left. So that's why I believe in this, okay? And that's why I put it on video like this. But the thing is what are the odds that I made all the correct picks, okay? So here, the odds of getting all 5 white balls correct and the red ball, the grand prize, the odds are 1 in 292 million that you'll get it right, okay? My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and what I mean by that is that this game is geared up to eliminate the white balls, okay? So the prize on that, the odds on that are 1 in 11,688,000, okay? So pretty astronomical, okay? A really nice prize would be 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays 50,000 plus the power play if you play it. The odds of that are just about 1 in a million, okay? Getting 4 white balls correct pays $100. You can see the odds on that. 3 white balls pays $7. Okay, if you get just the Powerball number, that pays $4 plus the power play, okay? So we can see that the odds are pretty astronomical, okay? So again, I just want you to know that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery, okay? So in closing, I want to thank you for watching, okay? If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball, okay? And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.